It was the daughter's birthday, but the man came back with his lover. But what he didn't expect was, the moment he opened the door, he found that his beloved daughter was surrounded by a setup like a funeral hall. The man was furious. Even so, he still refused to believe his daughter had passed away. He even thought it was his wife cursing their daughter. He called his wife and told her directly that if she kept using such tricks, he would divorce her. Because the man was convinced that his wife loved him deeply and would never agree to a divorce. But what he didn't expect was, his wife actually agreed. Not only that, she reminded him to come now, so he could still see their daughter one last time. The man still didn't believe it. Even after hanging up the call, he was still furious at the woman, because he thought she cursed their daughter's death just to scare him. He wanted her to come back and apologize to him. At that moment, under his lover's signal, the lover's son Edward pretended to be afraid of the funeral setup. To comfort Edward, the man actually destroyed his daughter's funeral hall. People outside heard the noise and came in. What they saw was the dismantled funeral hall. They were heartbroken. They couldn't believe there was such a heartless father in the world. That was his own daughter, and just for an outsider, he destroyed his own daughter's funeral hall. But the man was still lost in his own assumptions, thinking his daughter was perfectly fine, and that all these people were just actors his wife had hired. Everyone was furious at his stubbornness. They didn't want to explain anything to him anymore, so they left. They were waiting for the day he would regret his actions. Meanwhile, the wife was preparing for their daughter's cremation. She was heartbroken, not only because of their daughter's death, but also because of her husband's cruel attitude. Because until now, her husband still hadn't shown up. The woman was completely disappointed in her husband. With tears in her eyes, she signed the agreement to allow cremation. Her heart was filled with hatred. She wanted revenge for her daughter, because she knew very clearly that their daughter's death was directly connected to the man. Just yesterday, their daughter had a car accident. But when the man arrived, the first person he cared about was Edward, who only had minor injuries. Even though Edward only had a small cut on his hand, the man still put Edward into the ambulance. He completely ignored the woman, who kept begging beside him, because he thought she was exaggerating their daughter's condition, definitely out of jealousy over his relationship with his lover. He said directly that he was the best doctor, and there was no way he couldn't see his daughter's real injuries. Then, ignoring the woman's pleas, he left with all the doctors. The woman was extremely anxious. She hurriedly ran after the ambulance, trying to get the man to stop, only she knew that if their daughter didn't get treatment soon, her life would be in danger. But to her disappointment, the man didn't stop because of her. Even though their daughter was finally sent to the hospital, the result was that because she was brought in too late, if she was to be saved, only the man, who was called a top doctor, could save her. And because she was bleeding heavily, only a special blood type could save her. The woman felt a glimmer of hope, because the man was the girl's biological father, and she herself happened to have the special blood type. She called the man in a rush, but no matter how many times she called, the man never answered. For her daughter's life, the woman hurried to find her husband. She happened to run into him coming out. Strangely, the moment he saw her, he directly told her he needed the special blood type. The woman thought he wanted to save their daughter. She was very happy. But what the man did next disappointed her deeply, because after he got the special blood type, he left immediately, without caring at all about their critically ill daughter. It was then that the woman realized her husband had deceived her. He had taken away the only hope of saving their daughter, and the reason he took the special blood type was only to save Edward, who was barely injured. The woman's child eventually died. She carried her daughter home in despair, but in the elevator, she saw her husband being intimate with his lover. The woman completely gave up hope, but for her daughter's last wish, she still gave the man a chance to come back and see their daughter one last time. But in the end, she was disappointed again. Her husband still didn't come. What hurt her even more was, on the way to the crematorium with her daughter, she happened to see the man with his lover playing around with Edward, as if they were the real family. The woman was already in despair. She no longer had the strength to question him. But when the man saw the woman leave, he felt very uneasy. So after settling his lover, he immediately chased after her. When the man arrived at the crematorium, the woman had already signed her name. The man didn't believe it. He wanted to see the person lying on the bed. bed. Until he saw his daughter's face, the man finally believed his daughter was truly gone. His wife had not lied to him, but what followed was anger. He actually blamed his wife for not taking care of their daughter. Such shameless behavior made the woman completely lose control. She told her husband that their daughter's death was all his doing. It was because of his favoritism that their daughter had died. The man finally realized the truth. He felt regret. Just then, the staff came over with their daughter's ashes. They told them they could plant a small tree to bless their daughter. To make up for his mistakes, the man volunteered to plant the tree for his daughter. But just then, the man's phone rang again. It was a call from his lover. The lover told him that Edward had gone missing, and this time, what choice would the man make?